It just felt like we hadn't seen a film like this before. And also the dialogue is so, it's not like most films, or it's not like films that we see these days, because it's so quick fire and precise. And I think that modern cinema has become quite lax, I guess, with a lot of improvised lines and things like that, and people cutting lines left, right and centre. I just found this script to be so precise, and everything just felt so detailed, and the fact that Gabby is an actress as well, I think really, you could really tell she'd read these lines out loud to herself. They just felt right. There weren't any lines in it that I found to be stagey or there for effect, even though it's a comedy. I was really surprised by the character of Catrin, which I think she's quite unusual. Lona said something to me about her not having seen a character like this before in cinema, and I think because Catrin is a sort of, she's a writer, so she watches and she absorbs, and she's sort of really really wise and knowing, but she doesn't know that herself. And I think for a main character to be like that is quite rare, because usually they want main characters to be really charismatic, and I think Catrin is much more sort of internal and reserved at first, and I was quite pleased that someone had the confidence to write a character like that. Yeah, and also the era. I mean, I've always wanted to do a film based in the 1940s, and this just had everything about it. Felt, this, as I was saying before, the rhythm of the dialogue and the style was so 1940s in itself. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I read the script. So the story is, it's quite tricky to set up actually, because there's many stories within stories, but basically it's about a group of writers, film writers, that are commissioned to write a film, a propaganda film, in 1940, to kind of, with a female angle, to kind of, rally the troops, and also the home front and the women that were left on the home front. And so my character Catrin is drawn in to write the female dialogue, or slop, as they call it in the film. So that's the sort of main heart of the film. And then there's the film within the film that we shoot, called The Nancy Starling, and all of the actors that are playing in that film, we sort of follow their lives as well. But really it's about this two writers that fall in love, and this one girl who her journey through that time, and her journey of finding out who she is and her confidence. I've loved working with Sam Claflin. I think we have good chemistry. Yeah, it just felt very, very, very easy with him. He's so talented, so versatile, and can do the comedy and the complicated text, but at the same time, he's so sincere and can be incredibly moving and available in that sense. So I've loved working with him. I hope it's not the last time. I wish I had more scenes with him, because he's such a lovely man and just gorgeous to be around, and obviously a brilliant actor. And it's funny, we were shooting a scene yesterday where we have a very intense scene, Rachel Sterling and I, and then he comes in and does his, oh God, it was amazing, this scene. And I just felt like I was in another film. Because all of my stuff's been about the writing and the two men in my life, and suddenly this kind of actor comes in, and it just felt like such a different film. But I hope that's what Lona can get, the balance of all of those things. It was strange because we shot that storyline first, and then we've only really just started shooting the main storyline with Sam the last couple of weeks. And so I was so embroiled in this sort of, interestingly, I was so embroiled in the love story of this kind of marriage that's not real and isn't right, and Jack is a great. I thought that part couldn't really have been played by many people, and I think he really brought something else to it, in the sense that he didn't play him as a nasty person. He played him just as, you know, quite kind and quite sad and of the time, a man that can't deal with the fact that his wife earns more than him, and what does that mean? And I think that totally is relevant now even, and yet not a bad person for thinking that. And I think he brought a warmth to the part, and I just loved working with him as well. I think she's really the master of tone, and when I think back to her earlier films like Italian for Beginners and Wilbur Wants to Kill Himself, the tone of those films is quite complicated, quite difficult to master, and I don't even know if you can actually define the tone, and I think that's what this film has. It's a comedy, but it's very, very moving, and it needs to feel like a love story, yet at the same time, you know, it's a wartime movie that's accurate, and we need to make sure that it feels real and not sort of a romanticized war story. And I just feel like she's really clever at knowing, at balancing tone. And there's so many different aspects tonally to this film, with the high comedy of the film, the actors, and then the film within the film, which is sort of heightened reality, and then us, the writers, and also because she's a writer as well, and I think she really identifies with that world. But I also think the fact that she's Danish, and Sebastian, our DP, is Danish, I think they can sort of, they don't get romantic about the Britishness of it, and it's not saccharine. I just feel that there's another perspective on it, and so that, you know, that's why I think she's right. And also the fact that she's a woman, and I think she can really identify with the Catrin character. And I'd always wanted to work with Lona, so finally I did, which was I'm just loving working with her. There's one in the book. There's a passage that I really feel, and in the film, and we haven't shot it yet though, that sums up what this film's about, and it's about how important art is, and how, you know, how it can really save you. And Buckley speaks about it. Catrin asks him why are you a writer, and he says, well, it's what saved me. It's what gave me a purpose, and films make me. And I think that's we can all identify with that. There's always something like a piece of music or a film that helped you, and I think that's why we have to fight on and make things and struggle on. And I think that's the real message of this film, is about how important art is in our lives.
Hey, Vali here. Well, if you are like me and love movies, stick around, as I have some awesome movie trivia for you. For its American release, the first 20 minutes of Trainspotting had to be redubbed to make the Scottish accents more intelligible. Whilst filming The Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence accidentally kicked co-star Josh Hutcherson in the head, knocking him out cold and giving him a concussion. Jennifer. Benedict Cumberbatch recorded his screen test for Star Trek Into Darkness at his best friend's kitchen using an iPhone. Bill Murray was originally considered for the role of Han Solo in Star Wars. Independence Day was shot in just 72 days. The scene in the Breakfast Club, in which all the characters sit in a circle on the floor of the library and tell stories about why they were in detention, was not scripted. Director Hughes told them all to ad-lib. So, how many pieces of movie trivia did you know? Let me know in the comments below. Keep up to date with all the latest releases by subscribing to our channel and checking the notification bell. See you next time!